Welcome to the Verdin Sports Show. I'm your host, Jacob Verdin, joined by my guy, G Sports. Had to get it popping again. G, how you doing, man?
Doing pretty good, man. Trying to stay warm. Trying to stay warm.
Good luck. Good luck, because there's snow falling here soon in Louisiana. And I mean, we don't get to say that much. Don't get to see it. I've probably seen it once, twice in my entire damn life. And here we go
Right.
back again. I think 5 inches is expected. Hey, I'm glad we ain't playing football in
Right.
Louisiana. I'm glad we booted out of that situation. Just to give you a quick layout of what our stream will consist of today, LSU Portal News will be reacting to the additions to the overall class, defensive depth, any areas that LSU might need to target in this portal going forward. Then, obviously, national championship tonight. Buckeyes looking to, man, what is it? Would be 3, 4 wins in a row. I mean, impressive wins, too. They're beating big teams. They're beating teams that, quite frankly, I counted them out against. And obviously, the other side, Notre Dame, I feel like they've kind of creep their way into legitimacy here, one of the top programs in college football. But tonight, there's going to be an interesting matchup. Very interesting, situation with the college football playoff national championships. And then, I don't know if you feel this way, but it's been kind of a recent trend of not necessarily blowouts, but I believe I heard on a show this morning the average point differential for the CFP Natty is 20 points over the last few years since it's been out. I mean, look, there's been the TCU and Georgias. There's been a lot of different matchups where you thought it would be a good game and it was a sleeper. It could
Right.
happen tonight. I hope it doesn't. And then lastly, we'll react to Jayden Daniels and that NFC championship performance. That was impressive. I'm not gonna lie to you. I don't know if I saw it coming all the way, a damn JD5 Super Bowl run, but hey, look, I'm here for it. I'm not gonna back down now that we got the opportunity. To react real quick, to Marcus Cooley, G, is that the safety that LSU needed? I mean, obviously the rankings of their transfer portal class, they jump, they soar. Everybody's saying LSU's got the number one class, the number one this, the number one that. Is this the guy that is going to help them be the number one team, the number one defense? Is this the step and the move that they needed to get into that direction, would you say?
I, I think Tamarcus Cooley is a solid player. I don't think he's someone that's going to come in and make a huge impact on that defense. He's going to bring some experience. I think he's going to bring some depth, which they really needed at that safety position. Um, but I don't think he's someone that Tiger fans should be. Oh my God, we got Demarcus Cooley at safety next season. We're going to be really good because he's here now. Uh, I don't see that. I don't see that. Not from the film that I saw this past season of him at NC State. So, but again, it's always good to add some depth because they was depleted in that room. And Jordan Gilbert has had surgery this off season. You don't know how he's going to come back off of that injury. And he's dealt with a lot of injuries going back to his Texas A&M days. And then you
Yep.
got somebody like Joel Rogers, who was a true freshman this year that didn't get too much experience. All right, Kyler Jackson is going. Sean Spears played some significant time at the beginning of the season, but you saw him not get so much playing time around the middle to the end of the season. So uh, Cooley is somebody that brings depth to that room, man, and that's probably the gist of it in my mind.
And I'm glad you brought up that Jordan Gilbert situation because I ain't gonna lie, I did notice that there was no cast on Gilbert here. I'm like, man, what's going on? Is he gonna be, kind of slow getting back into it in the spring? And I guess that parlays this into the next question that I have is gonna be, is there any more moves, right? We've hypothesized all kind of DBs that are able to play safety, all kind of DBs that are able to be cross-trained. Do you think that that's going to be the direction that you have to go in, or are they going to maybe be able to kind of wait this thing out until that second portal window, potentially get someone toward the end of that spring period?
To me, man, I just think that they need to go get a Mike linebacker. I've been harping on it for about 2 weeks now. I think when you look at that linebacker room, you sit with Whit Weeks. He's gonna be back coming off the ankle injury. Brian Kelly said that he should be ready to go for the spring, so you don't have to worry about Whit at one of the linebacker spots. Perk coming back. He's gonna be fully healthy. The Mike linebacker spot is very important, especially with Blake Baker saying he wants to move to a three linebacker look next year. So uh, I would hope that they're going to try to find a good Mike linebacker in the portal, somebody with some experience. And I think if they do that, that shores up that defense, and you should feel really confident going into the next year. But if they don't have that Mike linebacker, as we know, that's the quarterback of the defense, I'm going to be concerned about that linebacker room as a whole next year.
Yeah, I agree. A lot of people this is where Greg Penn gets his moment in the sun, right? This is where he gets his flowers. He was kind of a unsung hero of that defense for the last few years. And quite frankly, he's been one of the biggest pieces. I feel like if you want to, and I'm not going to go out as far as to say he's 100% sole reason as to why you've seen these two players develop. But if you want to know why Harold Perkins and Whit Weeks have probably had an easier time getting thrown into that fire, into the mix, it's because you have someone like Greg Penn alongside of them that's able to either help pick up on their mistakes, help communicate when they're in a shitty spot, so to speak. But either way, losing Greg Penn through this next season, I think that might be one of the more tough, challenging weak points to push through. And I'm going to agree that linebacker depth, definitely one of the areas I got as terms of a concern. Might even go as far as to say maybe you worry about inside D tackle a little bit. If you got to go through and check depth, look at the positional needs, look at everybody on the roster. I mean, a few years ago, you'd have said DB. Maybe even last year, you would have said DB. Now you've answered that. You've moved past that. Is the next depth concern to pair with Mike? Is it going to be inside D tackle? You think they're going to be able to figure it out with who they got over there?
I wouldn't be surprised if they added another D tackle. Going into next year, you got Dominic McKinley coming back. You got Amaya Bro coming back. You got Big Sean Washington coming back. They got the high school kids, which you can't depend on for next year if you're trying to win a national championship or trying to win the SEC. But I can see them adding one more D tackle to that room, man. They got some experience. But I know they really, really confident in Amaya Bro and Dominic McKinley because they played so much time this year as true freshmen. And I know last episode, let me talk about this because we had a few people in the comments saying why Devon Keys can't be the starting Mike linebacker next year, next to Harold Perkins and Whit Weeks. And this is no disrespect to Devon Keys. I think he's a solid player, but fans got to understand, man. In the SEC, you have to have an elite talent or close to an elite talent at that Mike spot if you're trying to win the SEC. I'm just being honest with you, man. And I don't think Devon Keys has made it to that level. I think he definitely can make an impact in that room and help that team out. But if Devon Keys is a starting Mike linebacker next year, I don't think that Tiger staff and Blake Baker will be excited about that. In my humble opinion, I think maybe the following year, after he gets a few more reps and gets some more experience this second year, he could possibly be that starting Mike linebacker in that third year. I don't think he's ready to take on that role in year 2, in my opinion.
Yeah, I'm gonna double down with you on that because I'm pretty sure like his biggest role it got introduced to everyone around with the Florida game whenever Womack and them didn't really travel with the squad, and then just kind of to parlay that into the experience point. I mean, you don't want that part of your defense to be that green, especially over the middle. You've got a lot of different pieces that are flagged. I mean, that bowl game performance was great, right? That pick six, he had a great moment. He had a great opportunity, and I feel like he seized it. And I think, if he does a little bit more of that in the spring, in the fall, in the early parts of the season, yeah, sure, by the end of the year, you could be having that conversation. But it is definitely premature. I mean, if you throw him out there, it could be a very similar situation to somebody like maybe a Toviano or, a DB who had to get yanked out of their position initially after getting thrown out there in the fire. Maybe he's not ready yet, and you don't want to have that confidence get cracked and busted because that's a tough aspect of your game to build back. I mean, once you're out there in the live field, if you get your juice lost a little bit, I don't know how you're going to be able to go find it again.
And that Mike linebacker spot is the most important position on the field, man.
100%.
I don't see Blake Baker playing around and just taking a chance and look, we're going to go with Devon Keys next year as I start Mike linebacker. I just don't see Blake doing it. If anything, if push comes to shove, you probably would have to move Witt to the Mike, let Harold still play the wheel, and then you figure out somebody else to play the sound spot. I think that could probably be a solution if they can't find a Mike linebacker in the portal. You know what I mean? And I'm sure they're gonna figure it out. I don't see them going into the off season not shoring up their position. I just don't see it.
We got a question in the chat. Bono's talking about just overall how he thinks Keys is one of the most trusted players out there, and he's asking about the development. Like, could you get your development slowed? Honestly, G, I kind of want to be devil's advocate here real quick before you answer this. How about this might potentially help the development, putting him in a situation. You could compare it to a completely weird comparison, but isn't this similar to like a younger quarterback getting thrown out in the mix when he's not necessarily ready, and then all of a sudden he gets hammed on, and now he's got all these different mechanics that he's got to break, and he got thrown out a little bit too early. I mean, look, two different situations, but I feel like the safer you are with the development, and when I say safe, the slower, the training wheels aspect, you give him the bite-sized pieces initially so you don't choke on the whole damn steak. It actually could be, more substantial. It could be more beneficial, but that's just my devil's advocate thought on it.
Nah, I feel you on that. And look, I don't want LSU fans to think that I'm saying that Devon Keys is not a good player.
Right.
I just don't think he's ready to be the starting Mike linebacker on that defense yet. I don't think he's ready for that. And I think Blake knows that, right? And that's why I see them going to get him a Mike linebacker in this portal before it's over. I just don't see them going into the season with at the outside, Perk at the other outside, and Devon Keys in the middle. I don't see them doing that. It's too important of a position. I just don't see it.
Yep. I want to ask you real quick. Let's talk about top transfers, both sides of the ball. You can pick. Let's do defensive. We're on a defensive kick right now. Let's stick to the defensive side of things. I got my two guys. Number one, I'm gonna start it with Patrick Payton. Right. Obviously, we needed this presence on the edge. I'm not gonna say you were kind of like lost losing guys like Swinson and Jones, but I mean, you were going to be scratching your damn head. So when you're able to boost this position group with guys like this, guys like Pyburn, guys like Butler, I feel like it's going to make you sleep a little bit easier at night. Then in turn with Mansour Delane, the ability that we were talking about with him to be able to be that hybrid DB, right? If you do need some help at whether it be the free safety spot or, inevitably, which I think DeMarcus would potentially play a strong safety area. I got another kind of question for that as well. But either way, Mansour provides, I feel like, enough dependability on both sides where you kind of can lean him in a hybrid role. You can kind of lean him in multiple different areas. And before you answer this question, though, I've got to pop that up. DeMarcus Cooley, I feel like he'd have to be strong safety. I think he played nickel at NC State. I don't know what spot you would really throw him in besides that. I feel like he's got a nice amount of weight on him to be able to put him closer to the line. Nickel already had him close to the line. What do you think about that? Where would he fit in?
Cooley?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah, Cooley going to have to play safety. I know he got some experience playing nickel, but I just got a feeling once the fall camp starts and they start getting into game planning and figuring out packages and schematics and stuff like that, I think you'll see Mansour Delane play a little safety. Mm-hmm. I think you can see Ashton Stamps playing a little safety. That's something I've been talking about for a couple of weeks now. Don't be surprised if you see some moves like that happening. I think you can see Ashton playing a little nickelback. Because to me, if you want to go out there with the talent and the length and the measurables against these SEC opponents, having Mansour Delane at safety, Jaheim Jackson, the Florida transfer, DJ Pickett at the other corner, Ashton Stamps at the nickel, I think that now you put yourself up as one of the best secondaries in the SEC. Having that length and that athleticism on that back end, man, is very, very crucial when you're going against these top-tier receivers in this league, bro. And so Cooley probably fits in somewhere at the safety position too. I'm sure they're going to probably be able to use him at nickel sometime. They're going to be able to plug and play and move him around and stuff like that. The biggest thing about this is having kids that's versatile.
Yeah. Right?
Mansour Delane, versatility. Ashton Stamps, I think he got some versatility. So, Cooley, some versatility. So when you got guys like that can play multiple positions, schematically, it makes it easier to build a game plan for teams. And I think Blake and C-Ray's going to do a good job of putting those guys in position to be able to go compete on Saturdays, man, and get that LSU defense to one of the best in the country again.
So if Mansour is going to be playing safety, you potentially see Ashton Stamps out there. What do you think is that DB rotation for the corners? I mean, obviously you got Jakeem Jackson, the transfer from Florida. Do you see DJ Pickett as soon as, I don't know, August, September? When do you see DJ Pickett?
It is going to depend on how they going to use these safeties. Is the Sean Spills going to be the starting free? If that happens, you might not have to move the lane to safety. You could keep him at corner. So now you got Manson Delane at one corner, Jaheim Jackson at the other corner, Ashton Stamps at the nickel. Now you could kind of rotate DJ Pickett in. But if they're not confident about Deshaun Spills and Cooley and Joel Rogers at the safety position, now you got to mix and match and move the lane to safety. Now you got to move Jaheim and then insert DJ Pickett as one of the starting corners. They might have to go that route. It's gonna depend on how it looks in the spring starting off. I can see them moving Ashton around at nickel safety, Cooley nickel safety, just seeing how it looks and going into that fall camp, man, letting them all compete and figure it out. I think it's gonna be a healthy competition, and I can't wait to see how it play out.
Yeah, it's one of the first things I'm looking for from spring, G. I'm walking right onto that practice field. I'm going straight up to Coy Raymond.
And don't forget Michael Turner either, man. He's somebody that C-Red is super excited about. He's another one with a lot of length, 6'1.5" with some long arms. He can run. I know he didn't have his best performance in that bowl game against Baylor, but like I say, man, C-Red is super high on Michael Turner because he has all the measurables. He has all the intangibles, the feet, the lateral movement, the ball skills, because he played receiver in high school. So, don't be surprised you see Michael Turner be in that fold too.
Real quick, we hop out of this segment. Do you think that there's going to be anything that you could kind of like prematurely grasp onto spring that might be not like rat poison, but it might be a little more than what it is? Like, for instance, when we were out there last summer, we saw Sage Ryan playing at safety naturally, and then obviously he went to corner, and everybody's wondering what the hell Sage Ryan at corner, and they're like, cross training. But then he comes out and he's a starting corner against USC. Is there anything you think that could potentially be, more than meets the eye if you go out in spring? Like if we do see Mansour Delane out there, if we do see him at free safety, or if we do see him getting kind of pushed around, does that mean that we're 100% locked in? Does that mean that they're just figuring it out? Like, what is this just your testing period for this final portal window? It's kind of what it feels like sometimes. But
I think Mansour Delane is going to come in and fit in right. Like he's gonna fit in. He's gonna be good soon. He's a veteran. This guy could have went to the draft this year. All right, he's not going to have a tough time adapting at all. I don't think Jaheim Jackson is going to have a tough time adapting because you got to realize Corey Raymond recruited him at Florida, so they already have a relationship. He understands what Corey wants, so I think that's going to be an easy buy-in for him, right? And DJ Pickett is going to be the one they got to kind of groom along, and him being there early right now and doing the spring going to help him a lot going into fall camp, right? And you just can't teach his what he got. He got some God-given ability. And his measurables, his length, man. I mean, he's like a super ninja out there.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't think you're gonna see them having a tough time adapting, man. I think they're gonna fit in just right, and I don't see the secondary being a weak league at all come next season.
It's music to my ears. We're on the way up, G. Upward crescendo. This is LSU right here, trying to make it to that 12-man playoff.
Yep.
Move into that playoff talk. Let's move into that national championship talk. Because if there was a team this year, G, that benefited from it being a wide playoff, giving you multiple shots, multiple opportunities, it'd be Ohio State. Your Michigan boys did them 30 to end the season, and now here they are in the national championship. I feel like that's an honorary star for Michigan, man. That's honorary. Let's look at these stats real quick. So here's what the public is saying, ladies and gentlemen. The money line is at minus 375 for Ohio State, and 91% of the public is riding it, doing this, hopping right on it, hopping on the saddle, lassoing up. Total, something similar, 46 points, 70% of the public taking that. The spread, 9-point spread, G, and everybody's thinking that the Buckeyes murk the Fighting Irish. It's interesting, right? Because Ohio State's on fire right now, but about 2 weeks ago, Ryan Day was on fire. About 2 weeks ago, his seat was on fire. It just shows you how quick things change in college football. Gee, now we're in a spot where they could be hoisting a national championship, and everybody forgets about what happened in that Michigan game. And I get it. What have you done for me lately? The playoffs have been interesting, to say the least. I believe it's Tennessee, Oregon, and then Texas. That was the three they had to beat to get into the situation. So they had a little tough Tough spot. I'm not gonna lie. They got 2 SEC teams that they knocked out. Then in the middle, they had a team that knocked them out and won their conference in the first year. So they, quite frankly, went on a revenge tour. Offense is explosive. Here's my thing with Notre Dame. So they got their back against the wall. Don't have really much to lose. Not a lot of pressure in a sense where they're not the team with a 9-point spread. They're not the team that's been kind of up in the ante over the last few weeks that America's riding on, evidently. Let's pop that odds back up for everybody watching. 91% of the public. I'm going to repeat that one more time. 9/10 of everybody betting on this game, according to this service, says Ohio State's going to win. That's pressure, G. That makes me feel like Notre Dame is in a little bit more comfortable spot for what it's worth. I mean, it might not be worth much. The defense for Notre Dame also kind of willed them here, quite frankly, because the offense for the Fighting Irish is not nothing too explosive. I mean, I know they're averaging, I think, 39 points per game. The last few weeks, it's been kind of lackluster. It's been kind of not a 30-point per game clip. It's been something that I feel like has been simmering down, and while Ohio State just kind of pick it up. I feel like what's been keeping Notre Dame in this situation is a turnover battle, the pressure, the defensive front. And then there's been some opportune situations, obviously, Carson Beck getting injured, yada, yada, yada. Lastly, I feel like the Buckeyes, right? You blink, they go 75 yards. They got that explosive playability. I think they lead the nation in 20-plus point or 20-plus yard chunk plays. Does Notre Dame have a chance, G? Simply put, that's all I want to ask you. I know what I'm leaning. If I had to give everybody watching 2 picks, I'm going to give you them nice and easy. Ohio State money line, I guess I'll lean that way, and then I'm leaning on the over 46. And I'm not saying that it's going to be a high-scoring shootout, 30-plus this, 30-plus that. There's a good damn chance that Ohio State scores 35, 42 points on their own, and Notre Dame helps, chum the water afterwards. Do you think Notre Dame can somehow, some way stay in this, or is it all but over?
Let's rewind back, right? And we got to give a shout out to my Michigan Wolverines, man. Because had they not humbled Ohio State, I don't know if they're in the national championship right now, bro.
I agree.
And that loss resetted the Buckeyes, right? I think that Ryan D got a little more obsessive over doing the little things right, the details, making sure he's holding everybody accountable on both sides of the ball. I think he got a little relaxed, and sometimes winning causes complacency, and I think that's what you've seen with Ohio State. And then when you talk about Michigan and Ohio State, right? It's a rivalry game. You can throw the records out of it. So even though they lost to a Michigan team that wasn't that good this year, to me that wasn't a bad loss. And when everybody was harping about, should he keep his job? He need to be fired. I thought that was blasphemy. What Ryan D has done at Ohio State has been phenomenal, bro. Like, no, he hasn't won a national championship. Yeah, he's lost to Michigan 3 years in a row. But this dude has been in the playoffs. He's been in the national championship. I mean, sometimes to win it, you need a little luck on your side, bro. And things just have to fall the right way. Injuries, a lot of things come into play, bro, when you talk about winning the national championship.
Yep.
Sometimes the best team don't always win it. But tonight, I think Ohio State wins this game by 2 possessions or more. I just think they have too much that you have to try to stop. You got to pick your poison. Do you try to load the box and stop Henderson and Junkins? If you do that, now you leaving in Jigba and Jeremiah Smith one-on-one with somebody. And their best corner is out for the season, Morrison. So what is Notre Dame going to do? How they gonna get pressure on the quarterback on Will Howard? He's been playing phenomenal through this playoff run. It's just you try to stop the pass, they're gonna kill you with the run. The O-line has been mauling people. I mean, they've been coming off that ball. So I just don't think Notre Dame will have what it takes to be able to slow Ohio State down. I think Ohio State scores 30 or more points tonight, bro. I do. I think it's close early, and I think in the second half they run away with it. I think this score could end up being 31-17, 31-13, somewhere around there, man. But shout out to Marcus Freeman. What he has done with that team has been nothing short of impressive. And when you look at that team, you don't see a whole bunch of studs, especially on the offensive side of the ball. I know Jeremiah Love, he's a really, really good running back, but after that, I mean, they don't have a whole bunch of studs on that side of the ball, especially at the receiver position. And to have his team playing at a high level like this and having the national championships, I think that program is heading in the right direction.
Yeah, Mike Denbrock and Riley Leonard would have to have a perfect outcome tonight for them to be able to somehow, some way keep it close because Ohio State's got so much explosivity on that side where I'm worried that, like I said, they cover that total on their own. My pick, I'll go Ohio State winning, but a safe better. I ain't gonna lead y'all in the minus 375 direction. I'll go over 46 minus 110. I think that's pretty safe. The only worry you're gonna have is if that defense comes out firing and they kind of, seem a little nervous, a little gun shy off rip. But hey, it's gambling, bro. You gotta make your
If
pick on your
if
side.
Notre if Notre Dame wants a shot to win this game, they're gonna have to slow it down. They got to run the ball, try to kill a time of possession, um, convert on third downs, and try to keep that Ohio State offense off the field.
Oh
If they
yeah,
try to get in a track meet,
nah.
oh, Notre Dame fans, you might as well start beating the traffic. I'm
Yeah,
telling
if
you
they
now.
try to, the only way you winning in a track meet is if you biting their ankles, G, because they're gonna be running all over you. They're gonna
And
be
I'll go
treating
out,
you like ankle weights.
and I'll go out on a limb and say this: if Notre Dame does somehow keep this close or wins the game, special teams gonna be the difference. Notre Dame special teams have been really, really good all year. I want to say the kicker was out for a number of weeks, and he just came back, like the last playoff game, if I'm not mistaken. But they special teams is one of the best in the country. If they can mess around and get a block field goal, a block point, and flip the field position, that's the only way I can see them having a shot to win this game. They're gonna have to dominate special teams tonight. Get a kickoff return, something along them lines.
Every opportunity counts.
That third phase nobody talks about.
Can't let it slip. Hidden points. Hey, LSU fans know how that shit could turn out if you muff a couple punts, miss a couple kicks. It's been a recent
Mm-hmm.
nightmare for fans. Let's move on to NFL playoffs. Obviously, Jayden Daniels turning up.
It's a bad man right there.
Whoo, gee, some people are calling him the best rookie ever. Let me say that one more time. Best rookie of all time, JD5, fresh out of LSU. Hell of a game. Obviously, Jared Goff threw about 3 interceptions and completely killed the Lions' chances, but the run games were insane. Obviously, both teams had a running back get 2 touchdowns, but shout out Brian Robinson. I mean, that's one of the best 1-2 punches in that backfield. You got Robinson, and then just when he needs to take a break or a breather, you got Austin Eckler out there running all over you. I mean, Commanders had a damn instantaneous rebuild. Obviously, Terry McLaurin, Jayden Daniels, all these huge pieces. Who would have thought? Jayden Daniels Super Bowl run. If you look at the odds in the bottom left corner, we popped them up for you. Eagles plus 175, Chiefs plus 240, Bills plus 260, Commanders plus 650 to be your Super Bowl champions. I mean, it's insane. Super Bowl run. G, what was your reaction to this game and just how are you feeling watching this?
First of all, Jayden Daniels, I think he should probably win the MVP. I think he should win the MVP. And this is why I've been saying this for years that you should not vote for the MVP until after the playoffs over. Because what he's doing right now, he's making people start feeling like, damn, maybe Jayden Daniels is the best player in the league right now.
Straight up.
And if you're not saying it, I don't know what you're watching.
Straight up.
They need to change the criteria when they vote for the MVP. Because if he mess around and beat the Eagles in the NFC Championship and get to the Super Bowl, bro, you can't get his MVP to nobody else.
Nobody.
So to do what he's doing as a rookie, man, I mean, it just kind of seemed like he'd been there before. You know, when you looked at him at LSU, man, he's just so damn poised, so damn relaxed. He got this certain aura about himself, this certain energy about himself when he come out the huddle, like nothing rattles him. And if you watch the game, man, listen, Aaron Glenn did a great job of trying to disguise his coverages, showing blitz backing out of it, just giving him different looks to try to confuse him, man, and you just can't confuse him.
Nope.
This guy was ready for everything they threw at him yesterday. And the athleticism and what he does with his legs, that element of it, man, it just puts so much pressure on defenses, man. and it gets you out of your scheme in a sense, man. It gets you out of the things that you like to do well. You kind of got to go against your principles because you got to worry about his legs, and he's not always running to try to go get a first down or trying to score. Sometimes he's moving around to try to keep his eyes on the field to make a play. And I thought, De'Ami Brown, the receiver from North Carolina, I thought he showed up big time yesterday, man. Everybody been talking about McLaurin the whole year, but De'Ami Brown showed up big yesterday, man. And another thing about Jayden Daniels, bro, he don't turn the ball over. Like, he just makes good decisions. 300 yards yesterday, man. 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. And then you go on the flip side of that, Jared Goff turned it over 3 times.
3, bro.
And he's a veteran in this league and somebody that's played in a Super Bowl. You would have thought he would have came into the game making better decisions. But it was the other way around, man. Shout out to Jayden Daniels, man. Shout out to Cliff Kingsbury, right? We need to play that clip back, what I said before the season started, how big that was going to be for Jayden Daniels' development, and how Dan O'Quinn made a home run hire, getting Cliff Kingsbury over there to Washington because of his track record with quarterbacks. People cannot forget and discount how big that was for Jayden Daniels this year, man. And look, I got Washington going to the Super Bowl. I know the Eagles playing at a high level right now, and it's going to be a tough matchup. But I just think Jayden Daniels, man, he on a mission. He destined, and I'm rooting for him, bro. So I think they gonna be in that bowl, bro. I see it. I see it,
man. And I'm about to stir the pot a little bit because I feel like if you bet against 5, you might be clinically insane. You might have to have a conversation with a psychiatrist about what's wrong. Then I'm gonna step out into the water here, G. All these LSU fans listening might be pissed off after I say this, but it's time to have a conversation. LSU's had a lot of good quarterbacks. LSU over the recent years has had some tremendous quarterbacks. 2 of them at the top of your mind, Joe Burrow and Jayden Daniels. A lot of people might have him ranked wrong. You might have one of the most accomplished quarterbacks in Joe Burrow, but your most talented LSU quarterback ever, ladies and gentlemen, is Jayden Daniels. Period, point blank. Pin me to it. I think Jayden Daniels is the most talented quarterback that has ever come out of the 3-letter school, LSU. Why? I mean, yeah, you can add the mobility. Obviously, both have had instant success in the NFL, but I want to parlay it into that mindset you talked about. Well, one of the most humble, deserving guys you've ever seen come out of the school. And I think that those type of players, those type of mindsets, they're a team first guy. They're not me. They're not trying to get all their chips into their corner and count them. I think, quite frankly, the way that he's probably going to disperse that, it's a reflection on why everybody respects him. Look at the interviews after the game, G. Teammates coming up to him instantly. There's chemistry. There's camaraderie. And it's in 1 year. You don't see this often. And quite frankly, what you saw in his last year at LSU, you don't see that often as well. This is a special kid. And a lot of people are going to be confused on why I'm saying this because, yeah, Joe Burrow won a national championship, but you also said it best in that national championship segment. Sometimes you need luck on your side. Maybe Jayden Daniels just wasn't so lucky in his final year in college, but maybe that luck is starting to shine right now. I don't know, G. You could have really got to see LSU's greatest of all time in that number 5.
Yeah, I don't think that's premature what you're saying when you make a statement like he's the most talented LSU quarterback ever. I mean, what he does throwing the football, the anticipation, the intermediate game, which that's what he struggled with his first year at LSU. He doesn't have any flaws, bro. He doesn't. I mean, if you watch Jayden Daniels play, you can't tell me one thing you say that jump out to you. You like, all right, he needs to really, really work on that. Of course, he still can keep getting better, right? Like he's not a finished product. We know that. But when you just talk about flaws, I don't see it. I don't see it. He does a good job of going through his reads, his check downs. He does a great job setting his protection. He has good pocket presence. He could throw the deep ball. We know he can make plays with his legs. He understands how to get down and slide. He could take it 80 at any given time. Bro, the guy doesn't have any flaws. And can you imagine when he puts some more weapons around him in his offseason? It's gonna be a nightmare. I think this could be something equivalent to when the Rams had the greatest show on turf. When they had Azakim and Marshall Falk and Torrey Holt, and they were scoring all these points. You give Jayden Daniels another weapon or two, that's the kind of offense they're going to have. And you heard Cliff Kingsbury talking about, he been having some teams hitting him up about interviewing for a head coach. And he kind of came out and said that he really don't want to go anywhere. He kind of won't stay locked in with Washington because he's enjoying the process with Jayden Daniels. He sees something special over there. And that just go to show you right there that they got something special brewing in Washington. I would love to see these guys draft Kyron Lacey. I promise I would.
And then you still got a lot of other pieces that you can add. T. Higgins. What do you think is the likelihood? Now, I'm jumping the gun here. I'm going real hypothetical. What do you think is the likelihood of damn Alvin Kamara getting out of New Orleans? What if a piece like that gets active?
Possible. I like their two-headed monster with Robinson and Ekeler.
Yeah, you're right.
They got a nice two-headed monster, but I think they probably going to end up going to get a tight end because Zach Ertz getting older. You know what I mean? And add another receiver, man. They do that. Sky's gonna be the limit.
Oh my God! I just had a devious thought. Mason Taylor, Hot Montana Express.
2.5. Look, 5 been expressing to Kyron that he wants him in Washington. He's been expressing it to him.
That would be insane. That would really be insane.
Look, think about this. They mess around and get to the Super Bowl. I think he got the stature to go to the owner of the gym and say, "Look, man, draft Kyron."
Straight up.
Go ahead and draft Lacey. I need Lacey. And they're gonna listen to him.
And if he doesn't have that pull, what gets you that pull? I mean, you just waltzed into the best game, the biggest game. That man 5 said, actually, I just left the booth. I'm coming right back. I'm coming right back for February. And it ain't for Mardi Gras. He'd be able to get it damn near anything he wanted. And if not, Magic Johnson need to pull some more strings over there. I ain't gonna
lie. 5 said he won't Lacey, bro. So we're gonna see.
It'll be interesting. Anything else you want to say before we hop out of here?
Man, I'm excited about the game tonight. I hope it's a close game. I know I said that I think Ohio State going to end up winning the game 31-13, but I hope I'm wrong. I hope it's a really, really good game. I hope it comes down to the wire because we've been seeing a lot of blowouts in championship games in recent history. I'm excited about the NFL playoffs. It's been some really, really good games. My thoughts and prayers go out to Meek Robinson, man. What happened to him with the arm injury yesterday happened in the first quarter too, and the kind of season he's been having, man. It was just unfortunate that it happened to him in one of the biggest games of the year. And I think that played another part into why the Lions just couldn't stop Washington. They was already down with Carlton Davis, and then Terrion Arnold had just came back from the injury. He not all the way 100%, and so that secondary just depleted in Detroit right now. And I think that played a big factor into why Washington was able to put up 45 points like that too. So, but I can't wait to see these championship games and see how it's going to play out and see who's going to be in the Super Bowl. So it's exciting times right now for football.
It's wrapping up. We're almost done, but then you get about a month of a cool down, get to get a deep sigh of relief, and then boom, spring ball, boom, fall camp, right back into the full swing of it. It ain't gonna be much longer. Got a lot of questions about to be answered here.
Yep.
I appreciate your time, G. Appreciate everybody for tuning in. Remember, everybody, we had to change the time Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 9 a.m. Hit that like button, hit the subscribe button. Follow my guy G on Twitter or X at G_sports. Y'all have a good one.